A superfood tree has been quietly making its way into many American backyards. If you can spot this peaceful invader, he'll provide you with food. All parts are edible. Water, it can purify it, more protein and calcium than milk, 4 times the iron of spinach, and a lot more. The tree that every prepper should grow in his backyard. I planted one in my backyard and was absolutely blown away by how fast it grew, over 4 feet in just 2 months. Best of all, this tree already grows in many American backyards, so see if it grows in your own backyard as well. The medicinal plants hiding in your backyard. If you see this plant in your backyard, burn it immediately. The common backyard weeds. If you see this plant in your backyard, whatever you do, don't step on it. Why you should put garlic in your ear before going to sleep. Dear reader, an old book I bought recently holds some very interesting information you might want to know about. Besides turning into my go-to book whenever I have a health problem, you'll find some interesting things like why you should put garlic in your ear before going to sleep. What happens when you pour salt into a cabbage. Cabbage the most powerful natural painkiller you can make at home. Basically, the Lost Book of Remedies is over 300 pages of our forefathers' most powerful natural cures that have been lost to history. When medicines will vanish, you'll need this on your bookshelf. The Lost Book of Remedies. Some of them are the cures and homemade remedies our grandparents used when we were children to nurse us back to health. Others can help us heal as we're moving into our senior years and health problems begin to creep up. And you don't need to be an herbalist to use it. In fact, the Lost Book of Remedies was made for common folk with no previous plant knowledge. It will allow you to turn your backyard weeds into painkillers, antibiotics, and many more forgotten but highly effective remedies. In times of crisis, this book will probably end up saving many American lives. When medicines will vanish, you'll need this on your bookshelf. What happens when you pour salt into a cabbage? Take a good look at this picture. Do you know what happens when you pour salt into a cabbage? Cabbage A. The salt mixes with the cabbage juice inside and begins to ferment. B. The cabbage phytonutrients get supercharged by the acidity and turn into cholesterol sweepers. C. After 3 days you get a very powerful natural painkiller. This life-saving information was still common knowledge just a few generations ago. Today it's all but lost. I first read about this forgotten cure in The Lost Book of Remedies, an old tome that tries to save the most powerful remedies of our forefathers. The Lost Book of Remedies. It's written for common folk with no plant knowledge and has lots of colored pictures for each medicinal plant, weed or tree in North America to easily identify them. Even a small child could use it. The Lost Book of Remedies. What powerful healing plants you're growing around your house. Why put onions in your socks before sleeping? Dear reader, putting a chopped onion in your socks tonight might be the best thing for your health. Here's why. Since I've used this forgotten remedy, many old aches and pains are gone and I feel a few years younger too. But that's not even the best part about this forgotten onion remedy. I would have never found out about this were it not for this old book. The Lost Book of Remedies. The Lost Book of Remedies is just that. More than 300 pages of our forefathers' most powerful medicinal plants and step-by-step instructions on how to turn them into powerful remedies. If medicines vanish or you can't get your RX refilled in time, you need this on your bookshelf. The Lost Book of Remedies will give you the best natural alternatives to every pill in your medicine cabinet. But don't just take my word for it. See for yourself just how incredibly powerful these lost cures really are. I know you are interested in the old ways of doing things and incorporating that into your life. That's why I want you to be the first to know about this. I've just printed 100 copies of what is probably the best book I've ever written, The Lost Book of Remedies. This isn't available for the public yet. Only for a select few. Here's what you'll find in it. The Lost Book of Remedies. My grandfather was one of the greatest healers in America, and I spent most of my life using his old remedies. Most of the book is written closely following my grandfather's lifelong plant journal, which he used to treat thousands of people. The Lost Book of Remedies. The physical book has 300 pages, with 3 colored pictures for every plant and for every medicine. The Lost Book of Remedies. It's made for common folk with no previous plant knowledge. Especially now that we've lost so much of it to history. That's why in times of crisis, this book will save many American lives. When medicines will vanish, you'll need this on your bookshelf. Medicine Man warns Trump from beyond the grave. Body. We have lost the war on cancer. In 1940s 1 person in 20 would get cancer. In the 1970s it was 1 out of every 16 people. In the 1990s it dropped to 1 person out of 10. Today, 1 person out of 3 gets cancer in the course of their life. And all because of this tiny plant we've excluded from our diet. Your doctor doesn't know about it, and if you think the modern cancer approach works, think again. Oncologists are the only doctors who profit from the treatment they prescribe, with as much as 2/3 of their income coming from chemotherapy drugs, which work half the time, if you're lucky. But one man did know about this plant and many other plants he used for decades to treat and cure thousands of Americans. Can you imagine eating an entire tree? You've probably seen it countless times and you had no idea that all parts of tree are edible. Do you recognize this tree? All parts are edible. Do you recognize this tree? This is the ultimate survival tree that grows on almost every street in America. In a survival situation, all you need is a good tree. The 4 core survival priorities: shelter, water, fire and food. But there's only one tree which truly has it all and more. Check it out. If you see this plant in your backyard, burn it immediately. You've probably already seen this in your backyard, but you didn't know how dangerous it was. My advice: burn it or spread salt over it. If you see this plant in your backyard, burn it immediately. If you see this plant in your backyard, burn it immediately. Click on the link below to have this powerful books.